do, 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 do. They say I'll write disposable music. I say that I fight for my right to sing what I want. They'll try to finagle me, sound here or there, but I'd rather bleed. Do, 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 do. I'm the voice you'll never hear, hide me away in your bedroom closet. Do, 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 do. Exploit our dreams, but don't forget money ain't what it seems. They say no talent there. Now you'll hear what they want you to hear. Pretty pop, finally too. Do you believe what they have in their sleeve?
Good morning, everyone. All right, we're going to get started. Thank you very much for being here today. This is the September Northern California Chapters monthly meeting. Thank you to our host. Susie set this up. She'll be here shortly. And thanks to the Jelly Belly staff for always creating a great environment for our meetings. With that, a little bit of logistics. Breakfast items over here for anyone that hasn't seen that. And then bathrooms are at the end of the hall. So with that, we'll get started on the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. And we would also like to recognize the anniversary of 9/11 today with a moment of silence. Thank you. All right, so for the agenda today, we've got the Board of Director committee reports coming up at 10 o'clock. We'll hear from our commercial sponsor, Tyler Technologies. A little networking break in between, and our keynote today is Paul Troxel from Cal OES. Lunch at 12 o'clock, and then at 1 o'clock we'll have our breakout sessions with frequency coordination and the operations working group. Don't forget 12 o'clock at lunch, we will be issuing those raffle prizes. So thanks to everyone for sticking around for the day and anyone that helped supply some of those door prizes. All right, with that, we will get into our committee reports. So Manny, first up on commercial activities and conference, if you're ready.
All right, I'm Manny, and I'm your chapter CCAM, and I'd like to introduce Dave Jones. He's going to be my vice CCAM moving forward in 26, so thank you. I don't know if he realizes what he's getting into, but awesome, dude, thank you. While we're on that part, we've already have a schedule of next year's meetings, and I'll be getting something out to everybody on the commercial side right after our show. But if any commercial person is here today and wants to tell me they want to do a meeting next year, let's get that taken care of early. Let's see what else. I'm also a member of the Commercial Advisory Council for National NAPCO. I'm terming out this year after 8 years. So on the commercial side, if there's somebody that would like to be part of the national scene for the commercial people, I'd recommend it, especially if we can keep somebody in the West on the committee, it would be nice. So if anybody has any interest or know of somebody, please let me know, because I'd love to recommend them. Over the past 8 years, I've recommended 4 people on it, and they've all been accepted. So I think it's something to look at. Let's see, what else we got? So let's talk about our show. This is our second annual California conference. Last year we did it in Garden Grove at the Hyatt. We outgrew it. We had a great turnout, about 640 people, 80 vendors, and I had a wait list, but the room wasn't big enough. So this year we're at the Convention Center in Sacramento. The show is September 30th, October 1st and 2nd. There's training all day on, thank you, Jim. There's training all day on Tuesday. The actual showroom exhibit hall will be open on Wednesday and Thursday. There'll be training in the morning and the afternoon. Gigantic block party at the Train Museum on Thursday night. So if you're coming, please plan on staying. I'm paying for it already, so you might as well be there. All right, so we have right now we have 110 10x10s and about 92 vendors. It's a little bigger than that because we added some this week. So Great turnout from the vendor side, which obviously we appreciate. And for the commercial side that's here, the vendors, please send something out to your customers, letting them know that you're going to be at the show, come by and visit you. It's, you know, I can throw the greatest party in the world, but if nobody comes, it's not going to be worth anything. I think we're at over 250 right now. And it's free if you just want to come to the vendor hall. So let your customers know that they can do that. And what else do I got? Jim's got it up here on the wall. Keynotes, some of the classes I think he's going to show. So you just need to go to calapco.org. That's calapco.org, and everything's there. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and along the lines of training, we do have right around 60 classes across 5 different tracks. So lots of training opportunities, networking opportunities, a couple of days of specific exhibit hall time to learn more about what's going on in our industry. I was so excited for Manny to talk about the upcoming conference. I did pass over introductions, so I will circle back to the top of the agenda, and let's do introductions. For any commercial members, please take a minute to tell us more about your company, a specific solution that you want to bring the group up to speed on. And then for any agency members, if you have a problem or a project that you're interested in getting some new perspective on, there's probably 1 or 2 or more people in this room that have done something similar. So always feel free to put that out there, and we'll get through this together as a public safety group. So I am Carl Grover. I work with the City of Roseville IT department. I'm the current president, and thanks again for being here.
Thanks, Carl. Keith Viveros. I am with Rapid SOS. And since you said I can have a minute, I'm going to take it. Not me. Okay. Rapid SOS has evolved quite a bit over the last year, unbeknownst to many of you. So I just want to mention we have developed an AI that we call Harmony, that is homegrown, public safety specific, that is just an incredibly powerful tool. It helps enable voice translation and transcription on live 911 calls of over 40 languages. It helps with over 240 languages on our text to and from 911. We've acquired Total Response, which is a protocol company, and it's built into the Rapid SOS portal now. We've acquired I Am Responding and e-dispatches, so we have field protocols and field responder tools. And our training is abundant, and going in training alone, you can learn about some of the new things like our GMR air ambulance dispatch tools, and our partnership with Agiro, which is a company that enables citizen towing when your rotation tows are overwhelmed or you just want to hand it off to somebody else on those basic tow needs. So we're doing a lot. Come talk to me if you want to learn more, because I could go on for a very long time, Carl.
Good morning. My name is Mandy Montalvo. I'm a Public Safety Communications Manager for Elk Grove Police Department and a member of your Board of Directors.
I'm Jessica Larmer from SHASCOM 911 up in Reading Management.
Hello, I'm Shauna Curtis, Administrative Manager at SHASCOM, also from Reading.
Good morning, I'm Kathy Conley, Sutter Buttes Communications out of Yuba City. We're a two-way radio dealer, sales, service, rentals, installations.
Hi, my name is Jamie Johnson. I'm with Motorola, and I support PSAPs in the Central Valley in Northern California, and I assist them with their VESTA CPE strategy and initiatives, as well as with any questions as to how our RAVE products integrate with VESTA and Rapid Deploy and the radius mapping integration with VESTA. So thank you.
Good morning, Dave Falwell with Tyler Technologies. We are an end-to-end provider for public safety software. We're going to speak with you a little bit about our CAD today, so not going to say too much more than that. Thanks.
Ditto to what Dave said. Charles Olson, Sales Director with Tyler Technologies. Happy to be here and sponsor this event today. You'll hear a little bit more about us in about 15 minutes.
Good morning, Mike Maricini. Do we get to do karaoke too? Mike Maricini, Motorola. Good morning, all. Central Valley, all things Motorola, from CAD to radio to 911 to you know what. So if there's something out there, we'll buy it, I'm sure. So anyhow, good morning, everybody.
Good job. Good morning. Terrell Harper, City of Stockton, IT.
Brandy Thomas, Stockton Police Department's 911 Communications Manager.
Christopher Sutter, Stockton Police Department's 911 Supervisor.
Paul Reese, I work for the City of Roseville IT under Mr. Grover.
Good morning, everyone. Eric Stewart with American Power Systems. We do DC power solutions, batteries, chargers, preventative maintenance for batteries with the telecom and telecom and other industries. Thank you.
Good morning, Samuel Christensen, Epic Marketing, manufacturer's representation firm out of San Ramon.
Morning, I'm Gary Mitchell, El Dorado County Sheriff's Department Communications.
Good morning, Andy Salima. I'm the Regional Disaster and Medical Health Specialist representing the Emergency Medical Services Authority, and I'm out of Alameda County.
Hi, good morning. Paul Troxel with Cal OES, 911 Branch Manager, 988 System Director.
Morning, Michael Proscia with San Francisco Department of Technology, Senior Contact RF Infrastructure, and NAPCO Alternate Frequency Advisor.
Hi, I'm Davey Jones with E.F. Johnson, Solutions Engineer. I can't even say it, but I can do it sometimes. Just ask someone in here. So I work in the system side with E.F. Johnson, and yes, I'm willing to be your new, what is it, vice chair commercial? You bet. So beat me up. The only thing I will say about that is that, yes, I will be very fair and open. And Mike, I love you, so we'll work well together. Thank you.
Good morning, Linda Biaggi, City of Stockton EPMO Manager.
Good morning, Anna Trindad, Stockton Fire, and your Chapter Vice President.
Good morning, Lena Wiggins, Alameda County Sheriff's Department, current Dispatch Manager.
Good morning, Brenda Bruner, Alameda County Sheriff's Office Dispatch Manager, retired, and your Chapter Historian.
Hi, Jeff Perret from Federal Engineering. Consulting company. We do everything from radio to NG 911 to CAD records replacements throughout North America.
Good morning, Dan Marcus, RGB Spectrum. We are a audiovisual manufacturer focusing on complex visualization environments, including 911, where we integrate your underlying systems into a better, more comprehensive and more ergonomic workflow at the desk, at the console, and inclusive of the front of room video wall displays if that's also required. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Iggy Brigada with JPS, and I am not retired, but soon, maybe. But yeah, we're an engineering house, JPS, out of Raleigh, North Carolina. We design and manufacture communication interoperability and communication distribution products and solutions, and also probably one of the last analog voter receiver products. We also vote over analog backhaul links and IP backhaul links, where we self-synchronize the audio on the backhaul back to the head-end voter. So thank you for being here.
I already introduced myself, but I'm Manny, and I'm your CCAM, and I'm also the chair of our California State Conference this year. So I do have one more request. We are still looking for command van vehicles, specialty vehicles for the showroom. So if anybody has a contact or an idea on that, please let myself or Carl know, because we thought it'd be nice to have vehicles in the back, and I believe we have two for sure. So if there's an agency that has one, we pay for for it to be in the building. The only criteria is that the vehicle has to show up on Wednesday morning around 8 o'clock, and it can't leave until 4 o'clock on Thursday, unless there's an emergency. So that's the only criteria.
Thank you, Manny. All right, welcome everyone.
So Jim Lencioni with the County of Placer, your chapter PIO and your interim executive council rep. And just to remind everybody in the room that we are streaming to YouTube. And so to get any audio into the stream, we do need you speaking into a microphone.
And you can tell that Carl is anxiously awaiting the end of the year so that he can transition the presidency over to me. Mike Beckstrand, I'm your president-elect, also with Cal OES, and I'm a regional communications coordinator out of Reading. Hi, Shascom.
All right, thank you. We will continue with committee reports. Anna on member services.
Good morning. Today, our membership for Northern California APCO is at 837 members. So Manny said he's not retiring until we get to 1,000. He's got a little bit time to go. And we would like to welcome our new members from Alameda County EMS, American Power Systems, Los Banos Fire, Stockton PD, San Mateo County, Epic Marketing, Milpitas PD, Placer County IT, Roseville PD, Sonoma County Sheriff, Tracy PD, and Tulare County Fire.
Very good, thank you, Anna. All right, Mike on programs.
I use this one. So we have 2 more meetings for the year coming up. November 13th is going to be at the Tracy Community Center in Tracy. And our keynote speaker is going to be from California Post Basic Training Bureau. So if your dispatchers or anybody you know needs some post training or information about post, this is the meeting to be at. And the last one for the year is December 11th in Sacramento at CHP headquarters. So that's always a fun place to be. So pass the word around. And just to remind everybody that this is your chapter meeting, so if you have suggestions for keynote speakers or even locations, if you have a location that we could use for, a group about this size, hopefully a little bigger, let anybody from the board know, and we'll work with you and make that happen. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. All right, the Executive Council report this month just consists of some news. Tristan Scraber is leaving the city of Roseville as well as the chapter to join the Air Force. He was serving many roles. One of those was Executive Council. At the last Board of Directors quarterly workshop, we determined that Jim Lencioni would start as our Executive Council. We will get into nominations later, but for at least the interim, Jim will be serving as the chapter EC. With that, Jim, can you provide an update on public relations?
So for public relations, the biggest thing is we're pushing strong for attendees, and what Manny did not mention for the Cal APCO conference is that it is free to attend. Come see all 90 plus vendors at no cost. Come see the opening and closing sessions and the wonderful keynotes we have there at absolutely no cost. We just need registration for those. If you want to stick around for the 60 plus, we're almost at 70 now total between the presentations theater that's going to be in the hall and the classes. If you want access to the classes, that is a registration charge. We have single day passes for Tuesday and Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we also have full passes available. So again, that's all there. For the rest of the PIO work, again, we'll keep streaming. It seems to be a big hit for a lot of people online. Keep doing that. The website is there. So come December, pending the outcome of the election, that if I'm going to remain on as EC, we're going to be looking for somebody to help out with the PIO duties. And mainly that's going to be managing the registrations for our monthly meetings. That's the kind of the biggest thing, so getting those out in time. So again, if you have interest in that, please come see me. Please let me know or Carl know. Again, I'll be around for quite a while, no matter what what's going to happen in December. But again, having somebody to help out, take over that, one more thing off my plate would be great as we continue on for next year. And then starting in December, Manny, I think we're going to start registrations for exhibitor registrations for the 2026 conference to be held down in San Diego. So look for that also, exhibitors, and then we'll go from there. For any exhibitors that are in the room that are attending our conference, if you have not already updated your exhibitor profile, if you don't know what I'm talking about, talk to Manny or myself, because we do need you to update your profile because we do have the event app. You do not want somebody coming to the conference pulling up your company profile and seeing just text there. We want them to see your logo. We want them to see your contact information, your phone number, right, your address, all that good stuff. And it's going to be, that's incumbent upon you as an exhibitor to make sure that information is there correctly. So with 90 exhibitors, total right now I have over 500 registrations altogether, including exhibitors and attendees and booth attendants. We cannot do it ourselves. We need you as the exhibitor to do that. So if you have questions on that, let me know also. Like I said, we're trying to promote the show as much as possible and then kind of go from there.
All right, thank you, Jim. Membership and Nominations Committee, I'll provide a report on behalf of Susie, the chair for nominations. We are approaching the end of the year. We do have some open positions, as we do every year. There are 3 director positions opening. One of those directors is terming out at is her second term going through, serving 4 years total. That is Shelley. We do have 2 directors that are completing their first term. That is Larry and Kirk. Larry has offered from Stockton to run again. So we're still looking for at least 2 more people that are interested in serving on the board. As Mike alluded to, this is not just our show, it's your show. So if you want to be more involved, provide some more influence on decisions that are being made, help bring more value to the membership, we would certainly welcome that. So see any board members if you guys are interested in that process. We also, as every year occurs, we have the 4-year presidential cycle. The immediate past president is terming out. So that will be occurring this year. So we do have the vice president opening up. And so far we have 1 nomination for that, which is Shelley McMahon from Cal OES. And then our executive council rep is officially open. As Jim just said, we're filling that through him, but that will be up for vote in December as well. So nominations are due by the November meeting. They will be formally announced at that point. So again, if you are interested in being a part of the board, we would welcome some additional input and help to make things run. With that, we are down to 1 short committee report left, which is Finance and Budget. I'll be providing that on behalf of Jackie, our chapter treasurer. So as of September 8th, our balance is $183,071.55. That is fluctuating a lot right now with payments that are going out for the conference, income that's coming in, but we are financially sound. With that, we will close committee reports and get into the Tyler Technologies presentation. You guys need a couple minutes? Okay, very good. You guys are welcome to use this and or that if you both want.
Yeah, this will work. Good morning, everybody. How are you guys? Good. So my name is Dave Falwell. I'm with Tyler Technologies. I've got here with me my boss, Director of Sales for the Western half of the United States, Charles Olson. And we wanted to come in. We're grateful to be here and be able to sponsor this chapter meeting. So thank you for having us. Is there anybody here that's a Tyler customer besides Roseville? No? And I paid y'all enough to say nice things? Okay. I was just making sure. But we're going to talk to you today. I think we've got about 45 minutes or so. We're going to go over a few trends, emerging trends that we're seeing in the CAD business. Then we're going to talk to you a little bit about some of the Tyler products. We're going to then go into a few of our features that we think make us stand out compared to some other vendors. And those have come from our clients telling us that these are kind of some things that they see. And then at the end, what we want to do is play a game. Everybody likes games, and there's huge prizes to be won. So we're going to do that at the end. So we're going to not rush through this material, because that's the main thing we're here for, is to get you guys to see our stuff. But we definitely do want to play a game. Any questions before we get started? No? Okay, I only got 2 rules. One, if you see something in our CAD system that your CAD system does, just act impressed. That's rule number 1. All right, rule number 2, don't ask me any hard questions. I'm just kidding. You guys ping us with questions. Charles and I are very familiar with our software applications and the capabilities of it, but if it gets into a very nitty-gritty type of a situation, we may have to jot that down and get back to you. But I think we're going to be able to grab a hold of some emails, so I will absolutely be following up with you guys and answer any questions that you may have. All right? Charles?
Excellent. Thank you, everybody, for having us today. As Dave said, we're happy to sponsor this Northern California APCO event. I'm Charles Olson. I cover our sales efforts in the West. We're going to try not to bore you with a bunch of sales material. Show of hands, who was excited about the vendor portion of the presentation this morning? Well, we got a couple. Well, yeah. All right. So we're already off to a good start. Some emerging trends in the dispatch and 911 space that we wanted to highlight, and this will bring things full circle that we talk about some of the advancements that Tyler's making with our software and our partner relationships with companies like RapidSOS. First and foremost, and we've already hit upon this a little bit, is the advancement of AI in dispatch technology. We're seeing this a lot more in 911 call handling, using keywords to trigger a series of events within the software, as well as transcription and translation services, which RapidSOS offers. I will mention that Tyler does have a partnership with RapidSOS. RapidSOS is baked fully into our software. It's not a third-party application that you have to go to a different portal for. If you're familiar with the RapidSOS Lite platform, a lot of agencies use that around the country. We've embedded that within our software. So you'll get your phase 2 hits alongside the RapidSOS hits on the CAD map, and you could act on those accordingly. That's a unique feature of the CAD software that we have. Situational awareness, getting information from devices out in the field. So you think about the Internet of Things, telemetrics, things that your devices and your cell phones and your vehicles offer. Taking that information back into CAD so first responders could act upon it accordingly. For instance, we're striking up a relationship with OnStar to get telemetrics from the vehicles so you know whether somebody's airbags have deployed. So you know whether it's a critical incident that an officer is responding to while they're on their way to the scene. Cloud adoption is big. If you're not familiar with the cloud, you should be. We're putting all of our technology in the cloud. The most, I think I saw yesterday, that something like 60% of all of the CAD deployments in 2024 were cloud-based. There's more of an adoption to the cloud because it allows you to do things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do on premise. First and foremost is security, right? Everything with Tyler is hosted in AWS GovCloud. As strong as you harden your on-site servers, you're never going to match the security and resilience that AWS offers. In addition to that, we offer microservices and things that we could only take advantage of in a cloud environment that you would otherwise not get on premise. Multimedia integration. We're seeing a lot of multimedia integration. This typically makes dispatchers cringe, bringing video back into the PSAP. But it's here, it's coming, and it's real. And it gets you eyes on the scene before you're there. It's really a valuable piece of information that's available to 911 call takers and dispatchers, getting eyes on the scene before somebody is at the scene. And then lastly, geospatial awareness. Is everybody familiar with Z-axis locations in the room? I imagine you all are. So with the emergence of indoor floor plans and Z-axis and locationing and device locationing, we're able to pinpoint where a first responder is at any given time, whether they're inside or outside of a building. We're also able to pinpoint where that 911 call is coming from within the billing, providing crucial information to first responders when they get at the scene so they know exactly where they are and where their counterparts are at any given time. So these are the top technology trends that we're seeing in our space right now. Hopefully you guys are already seeing this in your industries or in your departments, but this is coming. So if you haven't already seen it, it's on its way. Before I move on to a little bit about Tyler, anybody have any questions on any of this? Okay. So a little bit about our company. We're a software provider. That's 100% of our business. The division that Dave and I represent is obviously public safety. So we offer CAD, records, jail, and mobile solutions. We're the largest provider in the space of software exclusively to public sector. We were founded back in 1966. Our public safety division is headquartered out of Troy, Michigan, where we still operate all our R&D from, all of our software support. We're publicly traded. You can find us on the New York Stock Exchange at TYL. While we're a publicly traded company, we don't pay dividends back on our stock. All the money that we make as a company gets invested right back into product. So we're going to show you a couple videos that highlight some features and functionality within our software. That'll show you the fruits of that labor. We put a lot of money back into R&D spend on our products. Our products are constantly evolving. We have about 2,300 public safety agencies nationwide, several of them here in California, Roseville being one of them. And lastly, probably the most important thing that I can boast here is we have a 98% customer retention rate, and a lot of that is due to the way we treat our customers. We have a dedicated client success team that reaches out to our customers, makes sure that they feel like they're getting the most value out of their software, that their software is healthy, and they're getting the support that they need. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Dave, and we're going to go through our software.
All right. Do you have the clicker? All right. A couple more quick things on Tyler, just our footprint here in California. I didn't put all the agencies up here. We've got about 31 different agencies in the state of California, Roseville being one of those. And one thing I can say about Roseville, I used to be the client executive that took care of that account. Worked very closely with Katie and Claudia and folks over at the department, and they are a top-notch shop. They are using our software at probably the 99th percentile. Of course, we're always coming out with new stuff, so you can't get to 100, but Roseville, when it comes to agencies implementing and taking advantage of every single facet of it, they are at the top of their game. So hats off to Roseville. But as you can see, we've got agencies all the way down from the southernmost point of California in the San Diego agency. We've got La Mesa, El Cajon, National City. Then moving up through the valley, we've got Fresno, Merced, San Bernardino, and then all the way up into the Bay Area. We've got Hayward and agencies like San Leandro, you name it. Our further northernmost client is Mendocino County, and we would love to break in even into Shasta County and Redding. That would be fantastic. Go ahead. A couple of things I wanted to point out that I think makes Tyler unique and stand out from some of our competitors, because at the end of the day, all of our competitors, there's 5 kind of top competitors in software. Can anybody name them? Tyler being one of them. Who else? Central Square, Hexagon, Motorola, and in the state of California, there's another one. There you go. Absolutely. So in California, that's kind of our competitive space. Some of these things that I'm putting up here are kind of unique to Tyler. One is Tyler University. So we come out and we can teach you everything we can about the software before you go live in a project. But then what do you do after that? What if you bring in new people 6 months down the road, a year down the road? How do you train those people? Do you pull people off of your staff to go sit in a room and teach somebody new how to dispatch? Or would it be great to have a program where there was curriculums built for adult-based learning that you can sit in and have them go through an online learning system to learn about your dispatch system? Have them familiar with your dispatch system before they even hit the training floor. Now, will it be specific to your processes? No, it won't, but they'll understand the different functions and modules within the CAD system. So that's Tyler University. You can assign these out. There's quizzes that they're in. They're interactive. Very, very powerful tool. The next thing that we have is Tyler Community. We used to call this Tyler Facebook, but it's not so much of a social thing. Think of it more as a LinkedIn for Tyler. This platform is kind of formatted in comment post type of a format, and so an agency such as Roseville could say, hey, how are you guys currently handling this new situation that just came out? And then people in California on the specific California board or across the nation, if it's a nationwide thing, can comment with what they're doing. And in addition to that, we also have our developers and our project managers that regularly get on and make blog posts, answer questions that the clients pose. And in addition to that, we also have all of our What's New guides that are coming out, all of our configuration guides, our prerequisites, you name it. We can help you out, and you get all that information off of Tyler Community. We put all of our CGIS level 4 compliance, so whenever you get that DOJ knocking at your door and you need stuff from Tyler, it's all out there for you. Talk about Connect in just a second. Down here at EverGuide, all EverGuide is, it's not a tangible thing you can put your hands on. EverGuide is more of a concept in that once you come in as a client of Tyler, we don't just leave you hanging out in the lurch. As Charles mentioned previously, we have a client success team composed of a client executive, client success account manager that are assigned to your account that you have access to every single day of the week. You form very deep relationships with your clients, and we're there to help you with emerging trends, make sure that you're using our software at its highest capacity. And it goes without saying, Tyler offers 24/7 support for CAD. So if you ever crash, in the unfortunate event that happens, we're there to support you through that. But as we move into the cloud, we've seen that crashes and stalls, they go down. Cloud is an absolute fantastic, stable environment. And in addition to that, Tyler is the one that monitors all of your cloud-hosted services for you. So your IT personnel can get freed up to actually do other stuff that may be more pressing for your agency. All right. Hit the next slide, Charles. We'll talk very quickly. I think this is Connect. Okay, so the last one up on that last slide on the top right was Tyler Connect. Tyler hosts a conference once a year, and it varies depending on where it's at. It's been going back and forth between San Antonio and Indianapolis. This year is going to be our first time to have it in Las Vegas. This was actually a picture in San Antonio last year, I believe. As Charles said, Tyler is not just a software provider for public safety. We provide software to every facet of government that you can possibly think of, from local municipal governments and HR offices, clerks' offices, schools, property and tax, bus routes, payment systems, courts, attorneys, you name it. If it is dealing with government and government software, I can guarantee you we have our hand in it in some way or form. Charles and I just happen to be fortunate enough to get to take care of public safety. So this conference right here was the opening of general session at our San Antonio conference, and this is just a small piece of what you can actually see in that picture. This conference typically has about 7,000 attendees that come from all over the United States. Of course, we section you out in your own little tracks to be able to do public safety courses, but you do get to interact at some of the bigger events with everybody throughout the nation. There's probably about, from public safety, we have close to probably 900 to 1,000 public safety clients that attend this conference every year. And while you're there, not only are you there for networking and some presentations on the big scale, but last year, I think we had about 170 different tracks of classes that went from everything from CAD, mobile, analytics, GIS, back-end maintenance, you name it, AWS type classes. We cover it all. So there's something there for everybody at our conferences. And not only that, we have fun too. So Charles, go ahead and hit the next one. We've already talked about Tyler University, but this is kind of what Tyler U looks like over on the right-hand side, but we've already talked about that, so we'll keep on going. All right. I'm going to turn it back over to Charles, and he's going to talk just very quickly about some of our CAD and mobile functionality.
Perfect. Any questions about Tyler as a company that we could answer for you? Dave did his job. All right. So a little bit about our product set, talking about our CAD and mobile. Our enterprise CAD is our third generation of CAD product. We started on the old AS400 technology, if everybody's familiar with that. We went over to a Microsoft-based platform, and now here we are on our enterprise-grade software. Everything's hosted in AWS GovCloud, as David said. The foundation of our software is our mapping solution. We are an Esri shop. We have a strong relation with Esri. In fact, we're Esri's largest customer in the country. So ESRI is the backbone of our software. The mapping controls everything the software does. I already said earlier that we have an exclusive partnership. Well, maybe not exclusive, but we do have a partnership with RapidSOS where we embed their software directly within our CAD application. Integrated device tracking. We offer our mobile technology both on Windows and Android and iOS devices. We're seeing a lot of agencies move away from traditional Windows devices, ditching those old tough books, and opting just for a cell phone or a tablet. It's more economical, obviously. A tough book costs a lot of money, but it also allows them to be mobile. So they could run a return off their phone. They could create a report off their phone. They could carry that phone with them on their person. But with that, we're also able to track that phone's location. So if your first responder exits the vehicle and we have that known location of the AVL, we could still follow them even when they get within the building. So that's really unique to us. NCIC is fully integrated within our software. We're a commercial off-the-shelf shop, so everything we offer is commercial off-the-shelf, although we're very configurable. So what you might see in Roseville would look drastically different in San Leandro. Our applications are tailored for not only the agency, so we define them at the macro level, but they're defined down to the end user. Each user could have their own look, feel, and functionality within our software. Everything is NG 911 compliant. We continue to keep up on the trends in the industry, and we're building out functionality as it becomes available. System-wide alerting. We're going to show a short video on how system-wide alerts within our software. That's really unique to us, and I won't spoil any of that right now. And lastly, we are both multi-jurisdictional and multi-discipline capable. So a lot of the agencies that we contract with are large consortiums who not only provide services for law, fire, and EMS, but they also have multi-counties and multi-cities on our system. We have a lot of relationships and a lot of interfaces and integrations that we provide. ProQA, Pictometry, PulsePoint, RapidSOS. We have a relationship with Flock Safety. I'm sure everybody by now is familiar with Flock Safety. If you're not already using it, you've heard them in the news. We do call creation from the Flock Safety hits, pre-arrival questionnaires, you name it. We have multiple standard integrations that we offer within our software. I talked a bit about ESRI, so I will pass over this slide. And we're going to get straight to some demos. So about this section that we're going to go through right now, we went to our customer base and we asked them, what are the things that really resonate with you? What are the differentiators about our software that you haven't seen in other pieces of CAD software in the marketplace? So these aren't just some videos that Dave and I threw together that we thought were great. We got input from other people that use the software, and they told us what they felt really made us unique in this marketplace. And the advancer is not advancing. What happened here? What's that? I sell technology, I don't use it. What's that? I'll point it every way, it's still not working. There we go, all right. So custom alerts. Yeah, we provide some standard custom alerts within our software that come out of the box, but agencies could create their own custom alerts for any host of information, right? You know, loud or vicious dog, for instance, or maybe it's a known offender, or whatever the case may be. You could create a custom alert within the system, and that alert could be defined to a person. It could be defined to a location within our software.
Show you a little bit about alerts, and Timmy, Raj put this together.
Welcome. In this tutorial, we're going to discuss alerts and their functionality within the Enterprise CAD platform. What are alerts in Tyler software? Well, we attach them to 4 different pieces of information. We can attach alerts to locations, to people, to vehicles, and to prior phone contacts. Now, those alerts can be informational in nature, they can be medical, they can even be based on first responder safety. But the critical part to remember about alerts in our software is that they are system-wide. So those alerts show up in CAD, they show up to firefighters, they show up to police officers, and they even show up in records management and in the correction software. So those alerts work through the entire suite, so everybody stays informed and everybody stays as safe as we can make them. So how do these alerts function? First is we decide, does the alert show up in the alert window? In this example, you can see I have location, people, vehicles, and prior phone alerts all in the window. We have to decide as an agency, do we want those alerts to show up? Next, we decide in what order do these alerts show up in that window. Then you can also see in our example, one of those alerts is flashing. That is another behavior that we are going to dictate. Does the alert flash? And then finally, if that alert is of a critical nature, we can decide whether or not that alert appears in what is called an alert toast. That alert toast will pop up and it will stay on the call taker or dispatcher's screen until that alert is acknowledged. So those are decisions that you get to make as an agency with alert behavior and appearance. There are over 50 alerts that come with the software. Now, if there's an alert that an agency desires that is not part of those over 50 alerts, rest easy. You can create, configure, and essentially customize right down to the icon your own alerts. One of the examples you actually see right here is that Ring doorbell camera notification. That was not an alert that came with the software, but an agency requested it. We showed them how simple it was to create their own alert. In addition, alerts can be attached to locations by proximity. And what I mean by that is if you have a registered sex offender that lives at a specific location, we could have that alert, say, go out a quarter of a mile or an agency-defined distance so that that alert shows up even if we are not at that specific location.
All right, so that's a little bit about alerts. Again, we have a lot of pre-configured alerts within the system, or you could create very unique ones for your agency.
All right, now it's turned on. What do we got next, Charles?
Geofencing.
All right. Geofencing. This is one of my favorite things. Anybody else in here use geofencing currently? You guys do at Alameda County? Extremely powerful tool. So what geofencing does, I won't take too much of Timmy's thunder for the demo, but what it allows you to do is draw an area. It can be a square, a circle, or you can actually draw a very specific polygon around something. And then CAD and mobile will behave depending on how you configured that specific geofence. So I'm going to let Timmy talk about it, and I'm going to give you another example of how we're working with an agency in Washington to accomplish a very specific goal.
One very powerful feature in Enterprise CAD is the ability for dispatchers to create dynamic geofences, represented here on the map by the blue sphere on the left and the green rectangle on the right. Once a geofence has been created, it can proactively make notifications to first responders and dispatcher call takers, advising them that a unit has entered or exited the geofence. On the example on the left, if a unit were to enter this blue sphere, they will receive a proactive alert advising them that there is drug surveillance going on and no marked units should be within this perimeter. Well, how will the unit know once they have exited the perimeter? It will automatically notify them of that, so there's no work to do on their end. Over on the right, this green geofence we've used to assist new employees. Now, oftentimes they spend a lot of their patrol time or response time learning the area of their jurisdiction. In this example, if they were to drive through this geofence, it will advise them that this is a known drug location and they should use caution when traveling. In addition, a geofence can be reactive. Based on a call type and a location, let's say something like a hazardous material spill or an active shooter, once the dispatcher or call taker creates that call for service, that geofence can automatically be triggered and automatically start making the required notifications. Let's take you through an example of another geofence capability on the CAD side. In our example here, units are responding to a domestic in progress. Now, this particular subdivision that they are responding to has a gate code in order to access the neighborhood. Now, traditionally, first responders would have to ask dispatchers to provide them that gate code either over the air or by mobile data terminal. With geofencing, we can remove that step. By actually geofencing the gate code appears by itself, thereby allowing the first responder to simply type it in and continue with the call.
Last one, he hit the stop button.
Okay, so you can see geofencing, it's pretty powerful. We can also configure geofences to be around the a certain distance from a call. So, and you can do it based on call type or you can do it on all calls. But when an officer gets on scene and gets within that perimeter, it can mark he or she on scene immediately. Tons of capabilities. One that we're using in Washington right now, I'm working with a tribal police department, and they have a very large casino in their tribe up in Tulalip, Washington. Anybody know where that's at? Yeah? All right. So what they are doing is the casino always gripes at them. You never spend enough time on foot patrols in the casino. We never see enough officer presence walking through the casino. I told him, I was like, Chief, that's not going to be a problem. We can use geofences. And he's like, what are you talking about? So we talked about this exact scenario, and we can do 2 geofences. One for the big parking lot that goes around, and then 2, draw another geofence around the casino itself. So when you're in the parking lot and you're using your in-car computer or your cell phone or tablet, it's going to track the time you spent in the parking lot. And we can do a couple things of just tracking your time or marking you out on a call if you want to. But then when an officer parks their car and goes inside the casino, they're going to cross the boundary of another geofence and start logging more time in there. It's all reportable to be able to suck out of the system and run metrics on that. And he was blown away. He didn't think that was even possible. So we solved that problem. That's one of many, many issues that you can use with geofence, is kind of thinking outside of the box and how it could help you. Go ahead.
Yep, so this next one is automatic status updates. Through a combination of different features and functionality that we offer within the software, geofences being one of them, we can trigger automatic status updates for your units. meaning that if a unit gets in motion and they're arriving or they're en route to the scene, we could automatically put them en route so they don't have to go to their MDC and press the button that they're en route. Alternatively, or in conjunction with that, when they arrive on scene because of that geofence, we could define that area within the CAD software. We could put them on scene so they don't have to actually assign themselves on scene. The software does it for them. Show of hands, how many folks or firefighters, police officers have a tendency to forget putting them en route or on scene?
I know I did. He's too excited.
You know, you're pre-consumed with other things. So we're taking that off of the first responder, and we're automatically doing that for them so they don't have to think about that.
Historically, changing statuses has been done in one of two ways. Either the first responder will verbalize they are responding to a call, and dispatch will then physically change the status from CAD. As technology has evolved, first responders have also been provided with the ability to change their own statuses from their mobile data terminals. But with Tyler Technologies' dynamic geofencing, we can remove the need to physically change a status altogether. So how do we do that? Well, once a unit has been dispatched to the call for service, the next step is for the first responder to push the button and go en route, or for dispatch to respond to the verbal command to put the unit en route on their end. Dynamic geofencing can remove that need. How do we do that? We create a distance threshold defined by the agency, and once the unit, the responding unit, has traveled the necessary distance, that status can automatically be changed. In our example here, a fire engine has been dispatched. Their required threshold is 300 feet. Once that unit has traveled the necessary 300 feet, it will change their status automatically to en route. We can also do the same thing at scene. Once the unit arrives at scene and travels the required distance, that unit will automatically be placed at the scene of the call. But we've taken it a step further. We can also automatically change secondary location statuses. For example, an ambulance leaves the scene and goes to the hospital. We can have that status automatically change. That ambulance arrives at the hospital, returns, comes back into town. All of those statuses can be automatically changed by way of Tyler Technologies' dynamic geofencing. Now, it's also discipline agnostic. What I mean by that is if fire wishes to use the technology, they can. If law enforcement does not, they don't have to. Each discipline can utilize their own preferences when automatically changing statuses. And the benefit is very, very powerful. You will not have a wrong en route time or a delayed at scene time again, because even if the first responder or dispatcher forgets to update the status, the system will take care of that for you.
All right, last one. Dave, do you want to talk to complex response plans, or would you like me to?
Go ahead, man. You can talk to it. There's a lot to them, and when complex is kind of an understatement. There's really nothing we cannot accomplish with response plans, but go ahead.
Yeah, last video, I promise. You know, I talked earlier about our capabilities and the ability to do multidiscipline, fire, EMS, and law. We do complex response plans as good, if not better, than anybody in the business. We can have multiple response plans built within the software. I'll let Timmy speak because he can tell it better than I do.
Tyler Technologies' response plan maintenance allows agencies, whether police, fire, EMS, or multidiscipline the power to create their own response plans with their own requirements, whether they are AVL based, they are not, or even perhaps a combination of both. Let's talk about how response plans can be built and the advantages to agencies. Here, this example shows a structure fire. Now, this structure fire example can be broken up many different ways based on what the agency requires. If a specific address needed a specific response, we can do that. We can do that right down to an apartment number, a suite number, or a lot number in a mobile home park. In addition, response plans can be broken up by time of day and day of week. Response plans can be based on proximity dispatch, which will instantly analyze Tyler's ESRI CAD map and make the most accurate calculation of which unit will arrive the fastest. How do we do that? Well, it's based on many factors. First can be, how long does it take to staff the unit? How fast can a unit respond? How heavy is a responding unit? How tall is a responding unit? In addition, we can create modes of operation. Modes of operation can be either man-made or nature-made. With the flip of a switch, a mode of operation can be activated, instantly increasing, decreasing, or adjusting the response based on the agency's requirements. Some examples here can include flooding, special events, tornadoes, thunderstorms, etc. The agency gets to define the mode. And agencies can even run multiple modes at the same time. If your agency is not AVL equipped, that's fine. Response plans can be based on traditional station or beat dispatching. Perhaps.
All right, I'm going to pass that one up and, for the sake of time, move on to some of the future investments that Tyler's making within our dispatch software. Indoor mapping, I talked about this briefly on the onset of this presentation. We're working to fully embed floor plans within our software, meaning that it's just a part of the map now rather than an external sheet or piece of information you have to look at. You could zoom right into that map location, see where the first responder and that call hit is within that building. So we could actually track the first responder as they enter the building and track their whereabouts to that call location. With additional information, we could provide Z-access, so floor plan locations ground up. That is something that we're investing heavily in and will be available in our 2026-1 release, I believe. It says 25-4, but that would be in our first release for next year. Here's an example of that indoor map showing you where that, we could put a layer on top of the map. We could show where any AEDs are, shut-off locations, and of course, your first responder and call locations within the map.
Yeah, this is extremely beneficial for fire guys to be able to have that floor plan map, not just a pre-plan, but to have that in here to be able to see that. And then as you can see, this building right up here has multiple floors on it. We're showing, floor number 1, but if they call in and say, we're on the 3rd floor, you could click down to the 3rd floor and see on the 3rd floor where they are within that, that building as well. So.
Okay. Pulling in additional 911 data feeds, I talked about this as an emerging trend in 911. Medical profiles off of phones, as users build out their medical profile within the phone, we could consume that information, telemetrics from vehicles, and then multi-language display within our software. I touched briefly on this. We have a unique relationship with Flock. Everybody's using Flock these days. We could generate a call, a CFS, from a Flock ALPR hit. And our relationship with AWS, we've talked about this several times throughout the presentation today. We have a unique relationship with AWS. Everything's hosted up in their GovCloud. Really, the most important thing here is the redundancy and the resiliency that you get out of AWS that you don't get otherwise in an on-premise solution. Let's skip over this, and we're going to end with this before we get to a little game and give out some prizes. Not only do we make great software, we support the people that support us. We're involved in APCO on multiple fronts. We sit on the APCO board of directors. We give presentations throughout the country to groups like yourselves. And we're a proud partner of APCO, and we appreciate the opportunity to be here. So with that, that's enough about Tyler. We're going to get into a fun game. I know that we have a break scheduled at 10:45. We're giving out a free CAD system, folks. So would you guys mind if we cut into the break with a quick game?
We're good with that? Okay. We'll only take maybe 10 minutes tops on this game, but I think it's fun. Did anybody hear about the California County game from the Southern APCO chapter meeting a couple weeks ago? All right. My colleague, Hal Rathbon, has come up with this game, and he said it was a lot of fun. So if it's not, we'll call Hal. All right, and Jim, can you pull up? There, you got it, man. All right, so you guys study that.
So yeah, here's how it's going to work, folks. We're going to go through, we're going to show different counties on the map, and your job is to tell us what county that is. So it's a little geography quiz here for you folks that might know California pretty well or think you might know California pretty well. What we're going to do is give out a piece of candy for each correct answer, and at the end we'll tally all the pieces of candy and see who gets the prize. Sound fair? And the prize could be a gift card or it could be a free CAD system. It's all based on how Dave and I are feeling about your interaction today.
All right, so you got the slide button?
Yeah, I'll be in charge of the slide button. There we go. All right, one more look at the counties of California. Is everybody good?
Sure.
All right, and here we go.
I think she got it first. You guys got to yell it out, otherwise I'm just going to hear this area up here. All right, next one, number 2.
There we go. This one might take a clue.
Oh, I know what that one is, but I don't know. Mariposa.
No. She said Mariposa. She got it again.
Mariposa. All right, you can't answer everything.
I've not tried that. I've waited. I've waited.
All right.
Here,
Mariposa. All right, here we go. Okay.
There we go. Mendocino, back in the back.
Get a little bit closer to home.
The next one, not many people get this one, so we'll see. Huh? Yeah, it's Lassen. Absolutely. Good job. Well, that's up in your area. That's your area. You should get that one, yeah. All right, next one.
Santa Barbara.
I think I heard him say it first from Rapid SOS. Yeah. Give it to him.
I heard one here too.
Back in the back? Give it over there. Oh, all right. Stockton.
We'll give it to you. We'll give it to you. Here. One in the back as well.
Just collect a bunch of candy. I just want the CAD system.
Very good. That is YOLO. All right, number 8. Isn't it fun? All right, good. I'm glad you guys like it.
Santa Clara.
Very good. Who got that one?
That one, I think.
Santa, but I was laughing on the Clara. You guys are good, man. You know your geography. Now, if I was to put my state, the state of Texas, up there, it's 252 counties.
Yeah, each
And they're
county's
all
like
little
this
perfect
big.
squares, man.
All right, keep your eyes on the board.
Inyo, correct. Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. Imperial County. Who said Imperial first?
That's correct. These folks paid attention in geography, man. Good job.
You got
Sam,
both,
right?
Contra and Casa. Humboldt.
That's where Murder Mountain's at, isn't it? Is that where that's at?
What?
Murder Mountain from that Netflix documentary?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah?
You can have notes to me.
Yes.
Where'd that come from?
Sam, you're the only one who said it. Somebody's going for a sugar high. Spent a lot of time on Google Maps.
Orange. Good job.
Yeah.
Where was the orange?
Stockton back in the back.
Yeah.
Riverside. There's Riverside. Where'd that go? Here, Riverside.
Delmar.
Delmar right here. Well, we got 54. We're only about halfway there.
We'll do, we'll good, no, we're not gonna do all of them. We've got two more. We're gonna do two more and we'll stop, just for the sake of time.
Okay, 2 more.
Monterey, that's correct.
Where was the Monterey?
Right up here. And I hope you guys don't get this next one wrong. Boom. Who got that one? I'm hard of hearing, so I can't hear in the back. All right, so tally up your candies. Who has the most candy? Anybody got more than, you can share. Has anybody got more than 2 pieces?
Yeah, she's got 3 now.
You got 3? You got 3? All right.
Anybody else have 3?
You got 3? All right.
Anybody have 4?
Well, we'll do a playoff with just the people that won the candy. Okay, so we'll let you go first.
Oh.
You've got 3, right?
Yeah.
All right. So next county, only you can answer.
It's Los Angeles. Oh.
I don't think we're going to get past this Los Angeles County people. How about now? There we go.
Oh, yeah.
That is Napa.
Final answer?
No. Mine's Solano. It's next to me. That's my guess. I don't know.
Napa?
Yeah.
Close. Sonoma.
Sonoma.
All right. So
Solano, though, that's where we are right
Sam,
now.
we'll kick it over to you, sir. Your next one is.
Oh, you couldn't have given me that one? That's my home county.
I was there Monday.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job. And did anybody else? So, who? One more that had 3. You had 3?
Yeah.
All right. So you get 1 as well.
All right, ready? Here we go.
It's in the valley somewhere. It's not a pretty county. Tulare. Okay. So you said Tulare? Okay, good job. Okay, so we've got, so unfortunately you've been eliminated. We got 2 prizes. So we'll go back to Sam for another tiebreaker. Good job. All right. And now back. And now back to you. That is Sam Benito. All right. So we've got 2 different gift certificates. So you won first, Sam. You get a $30 gift card to Jersey Mike's, and ma'am, you received a $20 gift card to Starbucks. So guys, thank y'all for playing along this game. I know we went a little bit over our time, but we wanted to do that. We're very appreciative to be out here and spend some time with you today. Hope you found a little bit of benefit, from the content we put up, and just thanks again. Hopefully we'll be back next year, and look forward to seeing hopefully all of you at the APCO conference in a couple of weeks. So, Manny, thanks for inviting us, sir.
Thank you. Well done.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate that. So we'll take a 5-minute break, and then at the top of the hour, we will hear from Paul Wilcox from Cal OES. For anyone that was looking for coffee, sorry, Paul Troxel, sorry. Sorry, Paul. For anyone that was looking for coffee, it did get refilled, so regular coffee is full, and we'll reconvene in 5 minutes. Thank you. All right, thank you, everyone. So we'll get started with our keynote. Paul Troxel, he is going to provide a state 911 branch update, including status of the Next Gen 911 project. So we're excited to have him here today and learn more about the current status and future directions of all things 911.
Yeah, thank you
for being here, Paul.
Greatly appreciate it. Real quick, doing an audio check. Can everybody hear me okay? Yep. Great, thank you. My name is Paul Troxel. For those that don't know me, I'm the 911 branch manager, 988 system director for the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services. I started my career, I left the military, moved out to Sacramento, got a job in the city of Sacramento to be a dispatcher, and I thought this was going to be kind of a stepping stone for me to go on and do bigger and greater things in life. And I found dispatch was really kind of a cool place to work. I got into a couple technology special projects and then catapulted. I eventually, after 21 and a half years, I moved to Placer County. I worked there for 3 years, and I got the job with the state, and I get to do some really cool things. So in the last 30-some years in the industry, we've seen a lot of evolution, and some of what we're going to talk about today is some of that evolution. But before I get into the presentation, I got a quick question. Did I hear a groan? I'm sorry. Real quick, Sir Lancelot, do you guys know where he went to party? No, the nightclub. So do you know who made Sir Lancelot's Round Table? Circumference. I'm getting there. The clicker doesn't seem to be clicking. Maybe not. There we go. Nope, there we don't go. All right. It's just one slide. Yep, we're going to talk about the NAPCO meeting. Maybe? No? Can you advance it? Nope. Nope. We're getting close. While we're waiting, do you know koi fish travel in groups of 4? In case they're attacked, the A, B, C koi take off, they leave behind the decoy. Yeah. Yeah. This is what happens when the slides don't cooperate. You get me for the next 45 minutes. I'm the guy standing between you and lunch. The more you laugh, the faster we go. Yeah. Settle down a bit. So while we're waiting, does everybody understand what Mike and his team do for Cal OES, the tactical communications team? They are the coolest resource. If you work in a PSAP and you have communication challenges, or if you have a pre-planned event and you know that you're going to have communication challenges, reach out to Mike and his team, and they'll come out and they'll help fix your challenge. They've got resources, they're great people. I'm not just saying that because Mike's in the room. I really enjoy working with this team of folks. In another part of the team, we have a broadband service unit that also supports emergency support function 2 when the SOC is activated. ESF2 is communications. So if you're having like carrier communications issues, you can contact them. They can start to work through some state resources and bring in some other federal resources to help you out. There we go. All right, thank you everybody. So here's a couple of things that we're going to talk about today. I'd like to have an interactive conversation, so please let's not just rely on these slides. So as we talk, if you have questions, please feel free to ask questions. Unless you're from Shasta, you're limited to 2 questions. So I'd like to start my presentations with what our workload is. California has the largest 911 network in the nation. We have just about 25.6 million calls a year. We have seen a little decline over the last couple of years. We believe that is based on better routing technology that we have available today. The routing on empirical data project that happened like 2016, 2017, did a bunch of analysis of our wireless calls. Then we had some legislation that came in that required us to evaluate all cell sectors one time a year to look at how many transfers were going on those wireless calls and then do sector analysis and reroute them to the most appropriate PSAP. Another important part here is wireline. We're still seeing a decline in wireline. Right now we're still over 1 million calls. I believe that's going to stay about in that window currently with our rural customers. As we get more technologies deployed into the rural communities, that might change, depending on how well that technology supports those needs. I was up in Lake County in May, testifying at the CPUC is doing some findings on the carrier of last resort requirement. Everybody familiar with carrier of last resort? One of the big conversations with the local sheriff there is he could stand in his driveway, look across the hilltop and see the cell tower, but could not use his cell phone. He relied solely on wired line at home. He drove down the hill, cell phone worked. So, bless you. Are you allergic to what I'm saying? Oh, okay. And this also emphasizes the importance of what we do at the state, the support that we give 911. We're the largest. We're too big to fail. We need your support to do what we're doing, and we need to make sure that we're communicating with you to make sure we're doing the right thing. All right, so let's get into call processing equipment. Where are my PSAP folks here? All right. So your phone is getting old. How old's your phone? 5? Okay. And back there, did I see a hand? Okay. So total statewide, we have 306 PSAPs that have systems age 7 years or older. My tech folks in the room, how does that make you feel that you've got a server out there that's 10 years old? Doesn't make you feel really good, right? So we have a real big push to make sure our PSAPs are getting the support that they need to replace these systems. Now, just to level set, we have 447 PSAPs in the state. So that's a lot of work that our team has going on right now. And a part of what we saw in 2016, we had a contract for call processing equipment that we now call legacy or on-premise systems. When that contract expired, we were advancing our NG911 project, and the office made a policy decision to advance call processing equipment technologies as well. So we developed a cloud-only CPE contract. And we didn't allow the on-premise solutions to be sold after June of 2020. So we were really thinking that we'd get more advancements in technology. The NG911 project was moving forward. We thought this was the greatest thing. And we found that there was just too much too fast. So we didn't have a high adoption rate of cloud CPE. So now fast forward to the end of 2024, I went to my leadership and I said, hey, we have a problem. We've got some aging systems. We have some PSAPs asking for on-premise solutions. So we were able to amend our contract. We worked with the California Department of Technology, who is our procurement team for IT and telecom. We got that contract amended and those executed at the end of June of this year. So today, you have an option to get what we call on-premise equipment, the old Motorola Vesta and the Entrada Viper, in your back room, or you can still get cloud systems. The team just did some analysis for me last night. I got the report. I don't have all the numbers available, but some of the numbers that we have here kind of identify some of the trends that we're seeing. So since our contracts have been approved, we've got 41 CPE systems approved and in process of replacement. This number 67 is now a couple of weeks old. We're getting 2 or 3 allotment requests a day, so we're much higher on this now. And then of that, we've got 30 requests that have been processed and pushed back to the PSAP. Now, I do want to add some context to this. If you're a PSAP and you go, my system is 7 years old, I'm ready to replace, I call my advisor at the state and I go, Teresa, I need my allotment letter. And Teresa, about a 2-week turnaround, she does the analysis, she puts everything together, and she sends you the letter. The PSAP gets it, and they're like, okay, what do I have going on in my PSAP? Am I remodeling? Am I changing CAD system? Am I doing this? Or am I moving? What do I have going on? Where do I fit this project in? And over that, whatever couple of weeks or month the PSAP is making this decision, they're also contacting the vendors, and they're starting the demo and evaluate which system do I want. So they finally select, I want AT&T to sell me Motorola Vesta. And then there's a back and forth to get a statement of work approved. There's some costing that's got to go back and forth and get approved. Once all that's done, the PSAP sends that to the state. We review everything, make sure it's all fits within the confines of the contract and policy. Then we provide the approved paperwork back to the PSAP. Then they get their project plan and start the installation of their equipment. So just because somebody got an allotment letter doesn't mean that they're going to replace their CPE immediately. You know, there are people out there doing a lot of other work at the same time. You know, they're in the middle of a CAD system. They know phone needs to be replaced, so they're going to time this. So a lot of times we'll see allotment letters signed and sent out, and then 6 or 8 months later, the PSAP's coming to us and saying, okay, now I'm ready. I've engaged my vendor, and now we're going to start the process of doing the contract. So all that to say, our team is set, ready to go. We are giving everybody about a 2-week turnaround time, just a heads up, because we do have a lot of workload going on. But if you're interested, reach out to your PSAP advisor, start that conversation. We are happy to engage and get that allotment letter processed for you. Okay, we got a question.
The allotment is, it's not that important. Okay.
They can't hear you online without the mic.
Perhaps
Yeah.
better. The allotment is based on what? Based on average call taking over a period of time, and does that assessment slide based on the date of the request? Like if I were to wait 6 months, could my allotment change because I'm looking at a different period of time for that assessment, for your assessment?
Yeah, so
does that make sense?
It makes sense. It's very complicated. The formula is available in our Chapter 3 of the Operations Manual. We take a look at a range of time, and we look at your busiest hours. And we know there are certain events, like July 4th, that's not normal. We want the average busy hours. So that's what we're targeting, and that's going to size your system. And then the allotment letter is based on the cost of the system. So, and that's a really important thing to point out. Today, how many seats at SHASCOM? 13 seats at SHASCOM. I'm using fake numbers. Let's say for SHASCOM to upgrade in 2020, it cost them $500,000. Well, new contract, technology shift, technologies update. The new contract comes out, and that's a $650,000 system. So their allotment back then would have been appropriate for a $500,000 system. Their allotment today would be adjusted higher to accommodate a higher cost. Now that's also, If there's a decrease in cost, so SHASCOM got $500,000 in 2020, costs decrease, and now that system's $350,000, SHASCOM gets a lower allotment. It's not we're taking money away, it's the technology costs less. Does that make sense to everybody? The value, the residual availability is all still the same. It's just the cost of the system is different. The real factor there is cloud technology is cheaper than on-premise technology. So if you get both allotments, you'll see your cloud allotment is lower than your on-premise allotment. Yeah, good question. Thank you. So one of the other things I really wanted to highlight here is our fiscal and operational reviews. As we entered the years of COVID, our team was going out and they were hitting a lot of PSAPs. We were up in like the 80, 90 PSAP realm of visiting each year to do a fiscal and operational review. In this review, has anybody gone through a DOJ audit? Okay, this is not one of those audits. This is a friendly visit. We're here to help. This visit is, we're looking at your 911 stats, what contracts that you had for your telephone systems, what have you used your residuals for, what your previous funding level was, and other technologies to support 911 that you have in your center. We want to come out, we want to make sure to walk the back room with you. We want to point those systems out to make sure you understand what our money has paid for, and also we want to make sure that that system is still there. Then we also want to talk about what needs you have. What has changed since the last time that technology's been updated? What's happening in your center? And that PSAP advisor is going to be your first point of contact with the Cal OES team. So we want to build that relationship as well. So during COVID, early COVID, nobody wanted our advisors in the PSAPs, understandably. We tried to do them virtual, but it just made it very difficult to go through the audit of all the equipment. So we kind of backed off. We did some reset with the team. And as the COVID protocols went away, we started to get out a little bit more. Then one of our team members, his wife had a baby, and she had a job that allowed him to be able to leave state service and become a full-time stay-home dad. So that's what he did. He left the team. We had one person who decided to retire. She felt after working for the state for some 35 or 37 years was enough. And she decided to retire. Then we had another guy who decided to go try to get promoted and got successfully promoted to another part of our 911 team. I don't know what all that crap was about, but hey, here we are. The 4 positions, we had 3 of them that were brand new. So we've done a lot of training, a lot of reset, and they are now fully trained and they're out there. As you can see, they're hitting the pavement hard. So all of that to say, if you haven't had a fiscal and operational review done recently and you want one done, let us know. They'll get you on the schedule, and that team can freely travel throughout the state wherever you are. They will come to you, set that meeting up, and they're really a great team. With the implementation of 988, we had one additional team member added to that team for a 5th position. The person that was there in the 988 side ended up getting promoted. So we're working with HR to get that position backfilled. So they'll have 988 as well as some PSAP responsibilities for the advisor. All right. So let's talk Next Gen 911. Who here knows about the 911 Advisory Board? That's it? You don't count, Mike, okay? The 911 Advisory Board is a group of folks who are appointed by the governor to be on a board that advises Cal OES on all things CETNA and all things 911 for the state of California. We have a minimum of 4 board meetings a year. Right now, they're scheduled in February, May, August, and November. The board, it's a very formal process. They have to follow the Bagley-Keene Open Meeting Act process. When the board meets, we have a standing agenda. We go through a process of briefing the board on what's happening in the 911 branch. The board discusses and provides advice back to the state for us to consider in whatever we're doing. When I worked in a PSAP, I was fortunate enough to be a member of this board. I was appointed by Governor Brown to represent Cal Sheriffs for a little bit, and then appointed to represent Cal Nina. I found great value in the board, and during that time, we were going through the initial Next Gen 911 transition. We were evaluating the transition plan, developing the plan, and starting the process to move forward. Typical audience in an advisory board meeting was maybe 3. And we streamed online and then had the videos recorded and posted online for viewing afterwards. But we didn't have a real heavy online presence until COVID when we do them all virtually. So these are really important meetings. These are opportunities for you from the PSAP perspective to at least dial in and listen to what's going on. And then the folks that are on the board represent you in your professional environment. And on the board, we have members from Cal Sheriffs, Cal Police Chiefs, Cal Fire Chiefs. We have a NAPCO, we have a Cal Nina rep, and CHP. So they're the professional associations representing the 911 community to make sure the office does the right thing. So at our last meeting, we talked about kind of the framework of where we want to go. So some of the feedback we got out of that meeting was they would really like to see like a written strategic plan. So we're working on that. As a matter of fact, today, when I'm done here, I'm going over to our headquarters building. We've got the plan probably about 90% framed up. We're going to try to get that cleaned up so where I can brief executive in about 2 weeks, and then be able to present the plan to our advisory board members. And it really takes shape of where we were. Last year when we paused the project and we met with the PSAPs, what was the feedback that we heard? What were the things that we had to contemplate in the network? And what are our decision points moving forward? And then how do we get there? So I'm very excited about this. The last year it's been a challenge. There's been a lot going on, a lot of questions, and I think there's more questions than we've had answers, and I think this will help answer everybody's questions. So in the next meeting, the advisory board meeting is November 19th. It's on a Wednesday. I would highly recommend that you either come down and attend in person. They're hosted at our office at 630 Sequoia Pacific in Sacramento, and they're streamed online. 10 days prior to the meeting links will be posted, and then you can get that, and then, bless you, you can participate remotely. So our long-term plan, what we're looking at is how do we simplify the network? What we found is we built an over-complex network. And some of the complexity that we built in actually created weakness for us. So we're evaluating how do we build an interim plan to then allow us to go out to an open procurement and get a new vendor to come in as a secondary network statewide. So right now, that's what we're working with our California Department of Technology team to develop contracts to be able to get everybody back under contract to provide these services using the equipment and the network that we currently have deployed in the state to be able to move forward. And then long term, we want that second contract about early 2026, January, February, we want that to go live and get that vendor onboarded and start to build out and then start cutovers of new PSAPs in 2026. So that's where we're at, what I'm able to share today. Again, as this plan's developed and it's made available, it'll really map out everything and hopefully answer everybody's questions. Any quick questions before we move on? All right. Oh, here we go again. Here we go. So, staffing study. I know I was here last year or earlier this year, and we talked a little bit about the staffing study. Has everybody heard about that staffing study? Has anybody had a chance to read it? Okay. So it started in a conversation. We were preparing for a long-range planning committee meeting, which is a subcommittee of our advisory board. And one of the PSAP directors, as everybody was kind of filing in and the meeting was starting, PSAP director was talking about, I can't retain people. I'm like at 43% staffed. I can't hire. I'm not finding qualified applicants. I get people in backgrounds and they're washing out. And it started this just really natural conversation about what can the state do. Now, we can't solve your problem for you. However, we can identify tools that might be able to be used for you. So out of that, the Long Range Planning Committee went to the advisory board. They made a recommendation that the state conduct a statewide staffing study. So we put a tool together, and there were 2 surveys done. One was for PSAP managers, and then one was for line level dispatchers. PSAP managers, I think we had a total of 73 responses. It was a very complex survey asking for a lot of data. On the line level dispatcher, we had over 600 responses. And we had some very interesting findings. Anecdotally, anybody who's worked in a center knows the folks sitting next to you are going through a lot. You know they've got a lot on their plate. But we've never had it documented. And some of that research, we were able to show the average respondent to the line level dispatcher survey has 3 stressors before they even walk into work. And the top 5 stressors were like divorce, caring for elderly parents, going through sickness or illness themselves, dealing with alcohol or other substance abuse, and then finances, yes, thank you. Just walking in the door. And then you have to add on the stress of being a dispatcher and working the long hours and being forced overtime and everything else. They also looked at like pay and benefits. And one of the interesting things that stuck out to me is PSAPs that had good leadership had higher retention, even when they were lower paid and had less benefits. Now, anecdotally, we've all probably had a job where you're like, man, I love my team. I'd stay with this team, cut my pay. This is so good, I don't care. Or I've had a leader so bad, you couldn't pay me $1 million to stay, right? So some very interesting results. So we briefed this to the advisory board, and the advisory board asked Cal OES to keep this survey out front and really make sure folks are seeing it and utilizing it as a tool. And we're currently talking about how can we do a follow-up and take a look at, did you use this tool? Did you make changes in your center? What changes were made based on this tool? Were they successful? And how do we fill in the gap to help refine and get some better practices available? And one of the big asks I have now is take a look at the study and see, is there a data point that we missed? Is there something new that we can now try to capture and take a look at in the future? So this is posted publicly on our website, caloes.ca.gov/911. It is posted there. Any questions about the survey? All right. Who here knows about 988? Mike, again, you don't count, buddy. So 988 is a mental health crisis suicide prevention hotline. It's always been available. It used to be like 1-800-273-TALK. And a couple of years ago, the FCC and the federal government said, we need to make this easier. 911 is a very easy number. You call one number anywhere in the nation, and you get emergency services locally. So FCC regulated that 988 be implemented as the nationwide mental health crisis suicide prevention hotline. And then there's some other subgroups in there that they assist as well. But ultimately, this is for those folks suffering from a mental health crisis who don't need public safety response. In the state of California, we adopted based on a result of an incident. I believe it was in Walnut Creek. Family member calls 911 and says their family member is having a mental health crisis. Law enforcement get there. The guy comes out of the house, is in real crisis. I can't remember if he presented a weapon or seemed to present a weapon, but he was ended up being shot and killed by the responding officers. So that family sponsored the bill, the Miles Hall Lifeline Act, which eventually gave us the authority to deploy 988 in the state of California. So today, the way it works, 988, when you call 988, you go to a national platform. Vibrant is the vendor that supports that. They take and determine where your call needs to go, and then they route it to the local center. Originally, they were routing on area code. And they were thinking, well, you know, California, if you're in area code, we know we got X amount of centers, we can get you close. Well, the problem is, I go to New York City on vacation, and I have a mental health crisis, and I dial 988 with a 916 area code. I'm coming back to California for my phone call. I'm not getting anybody in the state of New York to help me. And I might need services to be dispatched to support me. So they did an update, and they're geo-routing now on what's called a FIPS code, and it's basically a county code. And they route to the closest 988 center. In the state of California, we have 11 centers throughout the state. Our two big ones, D.D. Hirsch in Los Angeles and WellSpace in Sacramento, get probably 80% of the state's 988 workload. We have a couple other centers, Marin County, Alameda, Santa Clara, Kern County, a couple small centers. These workers are doing more than just 988 calls, though. They're actual crisis counselors. So in Sacramento, the WellSpace team, they have 11 offices throughout the city. One day you're answering 988, the next day you're working intake at the volunteer center where a family member comes in and says, you know, my spouse is having a mental health crisis, we want to do a volunteer hold and get you placed. So it's very diverse workload, very diverse community. Some of the counselors are professional, paid, educated counselors. And some of them are folks who have lived experience, whether they're a family member or somebody who has attempted and survived suicide attempt. So again, a very diverse group of folks answering these calls. As we started down this path in the state of California, we were thinking 988 is going to be just like 911. You're going to be in a controlled environment in a room. You're a paid crisis counselor. You're going to sit at a workstation. You're going to answer the call. 8, 10, 12 hours later, you're going to go home, just like dispatch. So we started down the path of building 988 centers to be just like dispatch. And along the way, we found that that's not reality. Some of these places don't even have, our San Diego center does not even have a brick and mortar facility. Their folks are hired and they work virtually. You know, whether that's at the local community center or at their home or whatever. Marin County has professional staff. They actually have a facility for their staff to work in if they want, or they can work virtually. It's a very fluid system that they have. The average call for 911 in the state of California right now is about 100 seconds. Dispatchers get on the phone, they find out what's going on, they get the information, they hang up, and they go to the next call. In 988, the average call is 20 minutes. Their average success rate is like 97 or 98% on a suicidal subject to get them calmed down and get them into some sort of program. If not immediately, they'll start some sort of emergency plan, get a family member or friend to come over and be with them, or get them either to agree to be transported or self-transport to a facility to seek help. Those are some amazing stats. Currently, we get just under 400,000 988 calls in the state. That includes text and chat. There is a chat feature. You can get on your computer and instant message into the 988 system. We've started to deploy a statewide telephone system. Again, we were modeling after what a PSAP would look like, and we quickly learned what we developed needed to support remote workers. The primary focus for the state of California is 911 to 988 interoperability. We're legislatively mandated to be able to pass those calls back and forth. In a legacy world, it's very limited. If Marin County gets a 988 call that's intended for San Diego, there's no way in a legacy world to transfer that across 911. There's no selective router network to San Diego from Marin County. In a next-gen world, it becomes very easy. Get it into the NG 911 network, they can push it anywhere in the state. And eventually, when we connect to Oregon, Nevada, and Arizona, we can do cross-border 988 transfers as well. So right now, we're really focused on our interoperability. The state is also required to develop a interface standards. The standard for the 911 to 988 interface, as well as the policy for when transfers occur. And from the state's perspective, we want to tee this up as we have the capability, and it's up to you at the local center to determine, how do I do that? In Los Angeles, for a couple of years, LAPD has established a 988 to 911 transfer. If they have a suicidal subject who's alone, not creating a public threat and threatening suicide, you go to 988. And then 988 counselors will handle that. And then if it's determined that a public threat is present, then they'll come back and engage public safety. So we're trying to tee that policy up to allow you at the local level to determine what works for my community. How do I want to serve my community? And then interact with our 988 partners. Any questions on 988? Yeah. Yes, sir. You got a lot of questions today, sir.
Yeah, I'm full of questions. Okay, so my question, probably two or threefold, has to do with the location of these callers. I think you said, what do you call it, FIP technology?
Yeah, FIPS code.
That isolates it to a region such as a county?
County, yeah.
So that you can route it, but not the precise location like we get with 911, correct?
Correct.
So my understanding is 988 and especially text to 988 handled by Crisis Text Line, those are predominantly the privacy of the caller and the anonymity of the caller is the word I want, is paramount. And those locations aren't disclosed. So Crisis Text Line, sorry for the length of this question, but Crisis Text Line has a severe problem when someone is in crisis and they feel a first responder is needed. There's no methodology for knowing their location when the caller doesn't want to disclose it. The second question, and I think ultimately, is when the call gets transferred to 988, from 988 to 911, does 911 get the wireless phase 2 in the event of a wireless call, or do they get the MSAG data or the device-based data in the event of that transfer? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. You got a lot of questions in there, Keith.
Full of questions.
Good Lord. So yes, let me clarify. In 911, location is automatic, and you know that when you buy your device. regardless of being outside of public safety, when you buy your device, you publicly understand that when you call 911, your location's going, and there's no way to suppress it. In 988, the caller is demanding to be anonymous. If they want to provide it, they will provide it in their conversation. And the majority of the time, if the crisis counselor needs the information, if they have to get a resource there, they have techniques to be able to get that information out of the caller. If they refuse to provide it, the crisis counselor can do the, oh, help me out, call the cell phone, exigent circumstance. Thank you, I appreciate that. Exigent circumstance. 988 crisis counselors can do that. Now, the exigent circumstance, just to let everybody know, is Keith calls me, refuses to tell me where he's at, but I have his cell phone number, and I know he's calling on a Verizon phone. I can call a 24-hour number at Verizon and say, Keith is calling me from 916-555-1212, and they can go, Keith's last known location was 123 Main Street. And then I can provide that to my responder, or I can share that with 911. Still available. There's a way to do it in the IM world as well with the IP address. There's an exigent process for IP address as well. In legacy 911, on the transfer question, no. We can't, in the transfer, you can't dip back into get that location. In the next gen world, using the state's platform, we built the process, but we haven't tested it yet because we're not fully next gen implemented with the state platform in an NG911 solution. But there's a way that when the call hits the next gen network, it can identify it's coming from this place. I need to do something special. I can dip in, get a location, and deliver it to the PSAP. Yeah, thank you. I like could you say that a little louder? Good answer, Paul.
That was a pretty good answer, Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good.
So I have a quick question for you, Keith.
Yes, sir.
What lights did Noah put on the ark?
Ooh, I don't know the answer.
Floodlights.
God, I saw that coming and I couldn't stop it.
Yeah. You were blinded by the light.
Blinded by the floodlight.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Your clicker's not working again. Yeah. Something else I didn't have on the slide, but I really wanted to articulate, and that's annual training allotment. PSAP folks, you all know about your annual training allotment, right? Are you guys using it? Okay. Just for everybody else in the room and those online, when I started with the state in 2018, the annual training allotment was $3,000 per PSAP per year. I know, settle down, how are you going to spend that all, right? At the time, we had 2% of the PSAPs were using that annual training allotment. Now, $3,000 is not a lot of money when you're trying to send folks to like the CalAPCO conference coming up at the end of this month, beginning of next month. But it helped. So I got some feedback from the PSAPs, and we decided, well, let's do $10,000 per PSAP per year. And a bunch of PSAPs were like, hey, this is really cool. First year that was implemented, we went to 4% of the PSAPs using that money. I was pretty proud. So I was at a meeting, and a PSAP manager from a large county came to me and she said, listen, all the PSAPs in my county are not using their training allotment. They don't want it, they don't need it. Can I have it? And I said, no, you can't have it. That's their money. And just because they don't want to use it today, they might want to use it tomorrow. Come on. And she goes, I can't remember the number, 120 dispatchers that I have to train. 10,000 is helpful, but it's not good enough. And for this other small city in my jurisdiction, 10,000 is great. It meets all of their needs. So through an evening of kind of brainstorming, I thought, oh yeah, you got a point. You know, if you're, the city of Auburn, $10,000 is a lot of money. But if you're the city of Sacramento, you know, that's a ton larger than Auburn, money's not going very far. So we built a tiered process. So based on your call volume, similar to the way your CPE is funded, we said if at the minimum you get $10,000, at the maximum you get $25,000. So we implemented that. Last year we had 40% of our PSAPs using that money. Wow. So very proud of that. That money is still available. That money is the PSAP's money. And we've also changed the office policy on the types of training that we're doing. Janae Dabrowski, who is our PSAP advisory and compliance supervisor, I put her in charge of reviewing all of that training. The reason why, Janae is really smart. Janae has experience running the Sacramento Police Department's training academy. She's got dispatch experience, and she still currently works per diem in dispatch for Citrus Heights in the city of Sacramento. So very knowledgeable on what the needs of the centers are. So I asked her, I said, you're responsible. Somebody says we want to do a training course, you evaluate it. Does it support PSAP operations? Now I'll tell you, if you come in and you say, hey, I got this person, John Smith, is offering underwater basket weaving for the public safety dispatcher, probably gonna scratch our heads on that one. How is that supporting operations? But if you come in and you say, we have a wellness class that's going to incorporate different techniques to give the dispatcher additional resources to be able to relieve the stress and anxiety and everything that they have going on in their life. It's an 8-hour course. This is the cost. We're going to evaluate that and likely approve it, even if it's wellness for underwater basket weaving for the public safety dispatcher. We've also partnered with Post, and Post has a couple of plans where reimbursement is available, and we said anything that comes through for dispatch, talk to us. If we could fund it, put it as a Post NA, not applicable for any Post reimbursement, and we'll fund it. So you'll see on our website, we are approving a ton of classes. And if you know of classes, let us know. Reach out to Janae, share what that is, because we're always evaluating ways to get the dispatch folks more training. And the one thing that we ask is if you're gonna host a training, if it's a 30-seat training, don't put 28 of your folks in it. Leave some seats available. If you want to put a handful of folks in, absolutely, but we want the state to be able, all the dispatchers to be able to take part in that training. And if it's really good, talk to folks. Get a Northern California, Southern California class set up. We really want to support that, and I'd love to be able to report next year that I got 60% of the PSAPs to use that reimbursement. All right. Yes, sir. No, it's okay. I'll walk it over. Whew.
Thanks.
Hang on. I'm winded.
Okay, so can you talk about the Cal OES CRIS system at all?
So I know Chris works at Cal OES. He's a great guy.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. No. So I run 988 911. The CRIS system is our radio branch.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't have any insight. Okay.
What I would tell you is likely wrong. So I would point you back over to Steve Yarbrough. He's the branch manager of the radio branch.
Thanks. I was wondering direction with interop for CHP, knowing that they will move to the encrypted channels and we lost. Oh, sorry. Talk to you about it? Okay, never mind then.
Yeah. All right. So thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you inviting me out here, and I have not seen lunch delivered yet. So I think we panic.
Jelly beans. Keep going.
Jelly beans? Oh, we're just going to get loaded up on sugar. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. Have a good afternoon. Thank you. Oh, yeah? Hang on. Let me turn the mic off.
right, thank you very much, Paul. We appreciate that. Lunch is coming, but we are going to do raffle prizes right now while we've got a little bit of time. Also, just to follow up on what Paul was talking about, there is ATA approval for reimbursement for the NAPCO conference, if that helps. Those that have not registered, go ahead and register via ATA approval. All right, with that, we will get started on door prizes.